Before you existed, millions lived, made plans, suffered, fought, and disappeared. What makes you think that with you it will be different? The answer usually comes quickly, almost automatic, because I will do better. But that answer was not born in you. It is old, too old. It has already passed through the mind of people who built empires and died without peace, of people who loved intensely and ended up forgotten, of people who swore they were just one step away from getting there, and never understood where exactly that there was. Now observe your own life with honesty. The excitement at the beginning of something new, the silent promise that now it will work, and after some time, that same empty feeling returning almost in the same format, only with different characters. You change the job, the tiredness continues. You change the relationship, the conflict repeats. You change the objective, the restlessness remains. And even so, the mind insists, this time it is different. It is not. But here's what nobody tells you about why you still believe it is. Your whole life, there has been a buffer between you and that truth. First, your grandparents, then your parents. There was always someone older, someone whose job it was to go first. And without realizing it, you built your entire sense of safety around that buffer. It was not courage. It was not peace. It was just your father standing between you and the void. One day, you will stand at his grave, and in that moment, a thought will arrive that grief does not prepare you for. Not memories, not sadness, something colder and more precise. Oh, now it's my turn. The buffer is gone. There is no one left in front of me. And you will realize that the reason you were never truly terrified, the reason the cycle felt manageable, survivable, temporary, was not because you were strong. It was because someone else was absorbing the reality of it before it reached you. That is the day the machinery becomes visible. Ambition is not new. Love is not new. Frustration is not new. And neither is the illusion that protected you from seeing it clearly. This anxiety that seems so personal has already crossed centuries inside other people who also had a buffer, who also lost it, who also stood at a grave and felt the ground shift permanently beneath them. Ecclesiastes does not try to soften this. It exposes, there is nothing new under the sun. A simple phrase, but one that dismantles almost everything that sustains the feeling of special individuality. Because if this is true, then most of what you call my story has already been lived countless times with small variations, but with the same emotional endings. Look around. People running after recognition and still feeling invisible. People surrounded by others and still deeply alone. People achieving exactly what they wanted and realizing too late that it was not enough. The scenario changes. The pattern does not. The belief that you will escape this is comfortable, almost necessary. Without it, many things lose meaning. But this same belief also imprisons, because it keeps you running after something that historically has never sustained anyone for long. There is no easy comfort here. What comes now is direct. Everything has already been tried. Everything has already failed. And understanding this does not put you ahead of anyone. It puts you in front of a choice that most avoid until the end. Continue living as if you were an exception, or face that you were part of the same cycle that no one managed to break. Think about the last time you felt that electric excitement at the start of something new. New job, new relationship, new city, new version of yourself that this time was going to be different. You felt it in your chest, that specific warmth of possibility, the sense that the old patterns were finally behind you and something real was about to begin. Where is that feeling now? Not rhetorically, actually locate it. Because somewhere between that first day and today, the warmth faded. The job became routine. The relationship revealed its fault lines. The city became just the place you live. And the new version of you quietly became the same version, just with a different backdrop. Here's what nobody wants to admit. That feeling, that specific, personal, intimate feeling of this time it is different, is not yours. It's thousands of years old. The Roman soldier who signed up for a new campaign felt it. The medieval merchant who opened a new trade route felt it. The farmer who planted a new field after a drought felt it. Every human being who has ever existed has felt that exact sensation in their chest, followed eventually by that exact deflation. You did not invent hope. You inherited it. And you inherited the disappointment too. Wake up, run, solve, desire, postpone, repeat. Different days, identical sensation. Life changes clothes, but the body inside continues the same. Few people face this with lucidity. Routine is not only personal, it is structural. It was not born with you, it will not end with you. Ecclesiastes describes the physical world, and you can feel the exhaustion in every line. The sun rises and sets and returns to its place. The wind goes south, turns north, keeps circling. Rivers run to the sea for thousands of years, and still the sea never fills. Constant movement, repeated result. Now replace the rivers with your desire. Watch it pour and pour into something that never fills, that can never fill, because filling was never the actual function. Now replace water with human decisions. Projects begin with energy, end in where. Desires arise with force, dissolve when achieved. Promises are made with conviction and forgotten with the same ease. The mechanism turns, and those inside it usually call this my story. But when you step back a little, individuality loses strength. What appears is an ancient design replicated in different scales. Rome got there. Not metaphorically, Rome actually dominated the known world. They engineered roads that still exist. They built aqueducts that still function. They created legal frameworks that still shape the laws you live under. By any measurable standard, they won. They got there. And then they collapsed from the inside. Not because of external enemies, those came later after the rot was already complete. They collapsed because of the same forces that collapse everything. Excess, internal corruption, exaggerated confidence in their own stability. Nothing there was new, it only seemed so. Sound familiar? Not because you are building an empire, but because the mechanism is the same. You have watched companies that once stood for something become hollow. You've watched movements that started with genuine fire become brands. You've watched people who were once alive with conviction slowly become very polished versions of themselves, performing a life rather than living one. And if you're honest, really honest, you have watched this happen inside yourself too. There was a version of you that wanted things for real reasons, before the comparison started, before you learned to frame your desires in terms of what they would look like to other people, before you started building a life that was partially, or mostly, a performance for an audience that isn't even paying attention. Rome didn't know it was performing until the performance became all there was. Most people don't either. Empires believed they were permanent. Common life runs the same mechanism, only in silent version. Work until exhaustion, believing that later rest will come. Postpone your own life, waiting for the ideal moment that never arrives. Confuse movement with progress, as if being busy was a sign of advancing. Repetition is not obvious because it disguises itself as change. New job, same frustrations. New environment, same internal conflicts. New goals, same background anxiety. The form changes, the structure remains intact. There is a specific silence that comes after achievement, not the comfortable silence of peace, a different one. The silence of a room you spent years trying to get into, and now you're standing in it, and it's just a room. Ecclesiastes does not describe this from the outside. He describes it from inside the experience. Everything that my eyes desired, I did not deny them. I did not deprive my heart of any pleasure. This was not a man who failed to achieve. This was a man who achieved everything available to a human being: wealth, projects, legacy, intellectual mastery, and then sat with the results and reported back honestly. The report was not good. Then I looked at all the works that my hands had done, and behold, everything was vanity and chasing the wind. Chasing the wind. Not catching it, not holding it, chasing it. The image is precise. You cannot hold wind. The moment you close your fist, it is gone. And you can chase it your entire life, faster, smarter, with better tools, and the wind will remain uncatchable. Not because you are doing it wrong, but because that is what wind is. Your brain has a mechanism called hedonic adaptation. It is not a malfunction, it is a feature. The brain takes anything that becomes familiar and reclassifies it as neutral. The extraordinary becomes ordinary. The impossible becomes background. The thing you would have given everything for 3 years ago is now just Tuesday. This is not ingratitude, this is biology, and it means every destination is temporary. Every arrival is the beginning of a new departure. Every summit reveals another summit behind it, previously invisible from below. People who reach fame describe the exact moment they realized it was not what they had imagined. Not when they failed to get there, when they succeeded. The thing was real, they held it, and it did not hold them back. People who accumulate serious wealth describe the same. They got what they spent decades working toward, and in the having of it, the thing that animated the pursuit dissolved. This is not coincidence, it is the structure of human wanting. Wanting cannot be satisfied by getting, because wanting is not about the object, it is about the state of wanting itself. The target is almost irrelevant. Ecclesiastes understood this without neuroscience, without data, without longitudinal studies. He just watched and reported back what he saw. And the verdict has not aged because the mechanism has not changed. The most common mistake is not in desiring, it is in believing that there is still some path that no one tried correctly. They already tried, in different times, cultures, contexts. They changed the means, increased the possibilities, made access more sophisticated. The emotional result, however, continues converging to the same point: renewed dissatisfaction. And this creates an impasse that is difficult to get around. If those who do not have believe they will find meaning when they have, and those who already had say they did not find it, then the problem is not in the distance to the objective, it is in the nature of the objective itself. Here is the story we tell ourselves about history. Things are getting better, and in some measurable ways they are. Medicine is better, lifespans are longer, more people have access to more things. But look underneath that, not at the metrics, at the experience. We have more ways to communicate than any civilization in history, and loneliness is at epidemic levels. We have more access to information than any human being who ever lived, and we are more confused, more anxious, more uncertain about what is true than people were a century ago. We have more entertainment, more distraction, more stimulation, and depression has not gone down, it has gone up. We solved the external problems, we built the tools, we expanded the possibilities, and then we discovered that the problems were never primarily external. Ecclesiastes made this observation from a desert, without electricity, without the internet, without any of the things we told ourselves would finally fix it. What is has already been, and what will be has also already been. The wars did not stop, they moved. Physical territory became economic territory, became digital territory. The need to dominate, to control, to extract, it found new forms, a new language, but the impulse is identical to what drove the first empires. The personal conflicts did not stop, they moved. Envy did not disappear when social media arrived, it found the perfect environment to metastasize. The fear of being left out, left behind, unseen, irrelevant, it was always there. The phone just gave it a mirror and a timer and an audience of thousands. We did not change, we upgraded. And the upgrade made us faster, louder, more connected, but it did not make us different. The same impulse that made a Roman senator desperate for status makes you check your phone 150 times a day. The same fear of irrelevance that made kings build monuments makes people optimize their personal brand. Same animal, better cage. The evolutionary psychologists will tell you in clinical language what Ecclesiastes told you 3,000 years ago. The brain running your life was designed for a different environment. Status-seeking, tribal belonging, short-term reward, fear of exclusion, these circuits were built for survival in a small group. They were not designed for the world you actually live in, and they are not equipped to produce the peace you were looking for. We cannot technologize our way out of this. We have tried, we will keep trying. Each attempt will produce new capacities and the same fundamental restlessness. Absolute control does not exist. Total predictability never existed. The idea that we are in command is comfortable. It gives a sensation of security. But this sensation enters in direct conflict with reality. Unforeseen events continue happening. Results escape planning. Effort does not always produce the expected return. And even so, the belief persists. More planning, more technology, more strategy, and then everything will align. It will not align. because disorder does not come from lack of tools, it comes from the human condition itself. The scenario modernizes, the conflict remains. There is a specific loneliness that comes from understanding too much, not intelligence, understanding, the kind that accumulates slowly through experience and attention until one day you look at something that used to excite you and you can see very clearly exactly how it ends before it starts. You've seen this movie, not this specific movie, the genre, the structure, the third act where the thing you wanted reveals what it actually costs. Ecclesiastes is blunt about this. In much wisdom there is much weariness, and the one who increases knowledge increases pain. This is not an argument for ignorance, it is a description of a real experience that almost no one names honestly. The person who has never been betrayed trusts fully and loves with their whole chest. The person who has been betrayed 3 times loves carefully, with part of themselves held back, monitoring for the familiar signs. Not because they're damaged, because they learned, and learning costs something. The person who has never watched a promising movement collapse into ego can join the next one with their whole heart. The person who has watched it happen repeatedly brings more skepticism than faith. Again, not damaged, educated. But there is a cost to this education that nobody warns you about. The world keeps asking for naive enthusiasm. Workplaces reward people who perform belief in the mission. Relationships work better when both people can suspend their pattern recognition long enough to be present. Everything around you is optimized for people who still believe in the simple promises. And if you have seen too much, you carry a specific exhaustion. Not physical, structural. The exhaustion of knowing how things go before they go there. The exhaustion of watching people make the mistakes you already made and knowing that telling them will not help because understanding must be earned through experience, not transmitted through words. Superficial conversations sound empty. Common goals seem insufficient. Entertainment distracts but does not sustain. And at the same time, there is no clearly defined better place to go. This is the part no system addresses. No morning routine reaches it. No optimization framework gets under it. Because the problem is not that you are not doing enough. The problem is that you are seeing too clearly for the old motivations to work anymore, and you have not yet found motivations that survive clear seeing. Before, following the flow was enough. After, following the flow feels incoherent. Before, seeking more seemed like progress. After, seeking more seems like repetition. And the problem is not only seeing this, it is not being able to unsee. Ignorance in this context stops being a flaw and becomes protection. Those who do not see the complete pattern continue moving with more lightness because they still believe in the promises that sustain movement. Those who see carry the weight of knowing that many of these promises do not hold until the end. Ecclesiastes does not offer relief for this. It maintains coherence to the limit. In wisdom, there is much weariness, without softening it. The idea that truth would automatically free you does not hold here. First, it destabilizes. It removes certainties. It dissolves expectations. It exposes limits. Only later, maybe, some form of reorganization appears. But this maybe no longer comes with guarantee. At some point, and maybe that point is now, a question rises that cannot be managed away. Why continue? Not as a beautiful phrase, not as a dramatic crisis, just as a genuine, adult, honest question sitting in the room with you. If the pattern does not break, if the arrival never fills, if progress is real in the external world and largely an illusion in the internal one, if even understanding brings pain more than peace, why continue? The automatic answers come fast. Family, responsibility, curiosity about what comes next, the chance that things might be different. But sit with those for a moment. Really sit with them. Because underneath each one, if you press hard enough, you find something more honest. I do not actually know. I just keep going because stopping feels worse, and the momentum of existing is its own kind of answer. That is not a failure of meaning. That is what meaning actually looks like before it gets dressed up in language. Here is what makes this unbearable for most people. It is not the question itself, it is the timing of when it arrives. Because this question never arrives when you have nothing. It arrives when you have built something, when the career is real, when the relationship is real, when the life you constructed is standing and functional and respectable, and somehow that makes the question louder, not quieter. Because if you felt this emptiness with nothing, you could tell yourself, just get more. But when you feel it with something, the last exit closes. And that is the moment Ecclesiastes has been describing from the beginning. Not the failure at the bottom, the clarity at the top, the view from having done the thing and seeing that the view does not complete you the way you needed it to. This anxiety that seems so personal has already crossed centuries inside other people who also built things, who also arrived, who also stood at the summit in the wind and thought, is this all there is? It is, and it is also enough, but only once you stop needing it to be more. Ecclesiastes does not end in despair. It does something more unexpected. It gets very small. There is nothing better than to rejoice and to do good in your life. Every man should eat, drink, and enjoy the good of all his labor. This is a gift. When I first encountered that, I felt cheated. After all of it, after dismantling every illusion, after walking through the ruins of every promise, the answer is, eat your food and be present. But that disappointment is the point. It reveals exactly how addicted we are to the idea of something extraordinary waiting to justify the ordinary. How deeply we have been trained to see the daily meal, the daily work, the presence of someone we love across a table as placeholders for the real thing. What if there is no real thing? What if the placeholder was the thing the entire time and we walked past it 10,000 times looking for something larger? Not as surrender, not as giving up on life, as a genuine recalibration of what actually holds weight when everything else is stripped back. You have met people like this. Rarely. They do not perform ambition. They do not chase things they could not describe in simple language. They do their work with full attention without making it their identity. They love people without making those people responsible for their internal completeness. They are present in the conversation they are actually in, rather than the more important conversation they are trying to get to. They are not enlightened. They are not special. They have simply stopped fighting a war that was never going to be won and redirected that energy into the life that is actually in front of them. The problem is you can't get there by trying. It is not a destination you can pursue, and if you pursue it, you have missed the point entirely and looped back to the beginning, now chasing the feeling of not chasing. You get there, if you get there, by the slow collapse of alternatives, by testing enough promises to know they don't hold, by arriving enough times to know what arrival actually delivers, by the specific exhaustion of doing it the hard way for long enough that the simple way stops looking like weakness and starts looking like the only intelligent option remaining. You will stand at a grave. Maybe you already have. Maybe it hasn't yet, but it will. And when it does, most of what you spent your energy on will reveal itself in a single moment of terrible clarity as the wrong currency for the only thing that was actually on the line. Not because you failed, not because you chose badly, because you were human. Because you are running the same operating system that everyone runs, optimized for the same illusions everyone chases, toward the same realizations everyone eventually reaches, some early, most only at the end when there's nothing left to do with the understanding. And standing there, you will feel the buffer gone. You will feel the slot move forward. You will understand in your body, not just your mind, that the cycle was never going to make an exception for you. But here is the thing that does not get said. That moment, that specific, devastating, clarifying moment is also the moment when everything unnecessary falls away. The comparisons lose their grip, the performance loses its audience, the things you were postponing until the right time suddenly reveal themselves as things you could have been doing this entire time if you had not been so convinced that the extraordinary version of your life was still somewhere ahead of you. The cycle does not break. It never has. No one reading this will be the exception, and neither will I. But inside the cycle, inside this specific turn, the one happening right now, the one that is your actual life and not the life you are planning to start living one day, there is still something real available. Not meaning with a capital M, not transcendence, not answers, just the unrepeatable, unremarkable, absolutely irreplaceable experience of being awake while it is happening. Most people are not. The question is not whether the cycle is real. It is. The question is not whether you will escape it. You will not. The question is whether, knowing all of this, you will finally stop waiting for permission to live the life that is already here. Ecclesiastes closes without fantasy. What God does will last forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing can be taken from it. The structure is not under your control. It never was, but the way you move through it still is. You are not the first to feel this. You will not be the last. The difference is not in breaking the cycle. No one has managed. The difference is in how awake you are inside it. This channel exists for people who do not run from difficult questions. If that is you, become a member. The link is below. To those already here, you are the reason this continues.